guys, it's Brian. Today I wanted to talk about my workout routine. Right now I'm at the Y.M.C.A. in Hilliard, Ohio, which is right outside of Columbus. I found that this gym is very handicap accessible compared to other gyms around the city that I've been to. They have a lot of equipment that you can literally just roll up to from your wheelchair, which for me is really useful because since I'm such a high injury level, I'm a T1 complete, I don't have any core sensation or any core strength or control. So transferring on and off of machines is really kind of tricky, especially after my muscles have kind of become fatigued from working out. So I actually do my entire workout from my chair. And as you can see, I'm wearing jeans. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I really don't sweat below my injury level. And since I'm not transferring on and off machines, it really doesn't matter if I have jeans on. It's also a lot easier when I come to work out in the morning. I can just wear the same clothes I'm gonna go to work in, and I don't have to worry about trying to change from my actual wheelchair, which is really kind of tricky for me. As far as my actual workout goes, I typically do about 3 to 4 sets, and as I do more sets, I usually increase the weight, but also decrease the reps. So maybe for the first set, I'll do 12 to 10 reps, and then I'll increase the weight and do 8, and then increase the weight again and do 6. I'm not hardcore, I'm not super pumped and trying to get, huge. That's not my goal overall. I just want to stay fit and, stay healthy. One thing I did want to mention is wheelchair users, we tend to do this all day long. So our chest and our front of our arms is going to be built just from doing that on a day-to-day basis. So what I was going to kind of say is I don't do that much chest exercises because my chest is already built. What I like to focus on is the back. Pretty much any wheelchair user should try to focus a lot on their shoulders, the back of their shoulders and their back, because what you want to do is you want to balance the muscles. You have all this built up, and over time you're going to start kind of hunching forward. So if you can strengthen your back muscles as much as possible, it kind of just will improve your posture a lot. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is a lat pull down machine. As you can see, I've raised this cable right here in order to lower the actual bar so I can reach it, because obviously if this was all the way down, then I'm not going to be able to reach that bar. It's going to be too high. So I typically will raise that up. In this way, I can literally just roll into this. There's a slide away bench that if an able-bodied person wants to use this, they can use it. But for me, it's really easy. I can stay in my chair. Just go ahead and do one set, we'll move on. You want to try to stay as controlled as possible. If you feel like you're really pulling way too hard or jerking your body around, then you're probably doing a little bit too much weight. This is actually another back exercise similar to the lat pull down. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to prop the front of the chair up on these blocks right here just to get a little bit more room away from the floor. And then it's going to be a seated row. So I'll show you what that looks like. Just pop this up here. I'll lock in the wheel locks. And then what I typically do is I'll hang on to one caster arm and then just at this point I can just slide the weight under and do the exact same thing on the other side. This machine is just an upright bench press, which is kind of nice for when you're in a wheelchair. You don't actually have to lay down. So all you're doing is just pushing out. So again, I'm doing very limited chest exercises. Usually I'll just do this machine and then the Pec Fly Machine, and then everything else, a lot of the times I'm just trying to focus on my shoulders and my back. See, this is also a shoulder exercise machine too. So what I typically like to do is scoot this pad forward a little bit a little bit more support, gets me a little farther forward. I struggle a lot with any free weights above the head just because I don't have the core stability. So for me, it's a little bit dangerous to do shoulder exercises with free weights. So I typically only use machines. This exercise I'm going to do is going to work the back of my shoulder. And what I'll typically do is one side at a time. Anything that I can't control my body or have to hang on with one hand, typically do one side at a time. You want to try to keep your arm as straight as possible, not bend at the elbow, because this will focus as much of the strength training on your actual shoulder, not your arm. So then I would just spin around and do the exact same thing on the other side. And again, it helps to have really solid wheel locks, especially when you're working out and you're not rolling around too much. I tend to have a little bit more strength on my left side than my right side. I don't know if that's just because I'm left-handed, but it's something I've noticed. I use this machine for tricep exercises. And again, I don't have to transfer onto the bench. I can just do one arm at a time just by kind of pulling up next to it. What I like to do is lock in my wheel locks, and then I'm going to hang onto the chair with one hand and then use the other hand to actually do the exercise. You want to try to keep your elbow as locked as you can in one position and not flopping around. So that's going to give you as much focus on the tricep as you can. And then you can simply just spin around and do the other side the same exact way. This rope pull down is another tricep exercise. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going to bend forward as much as I can. And I'm actually, since I don't have the core strength, I am using just the weight of my body to keep my body forward. I'm not actually holding my body down with my muscles. So this is kind of tricky. In order to get forward, I have to actually grab onto something. And then I'll just get to this position. And now that I'm down, again, I'm just using the weight of my upper body to keep myself down. So one tricky part about this is you can't do a ton of weight because if you get a lot of weight, then it's just going to pull your body straight back up. So I usually do the majority of my strength training on the other machine, but this is just, I wanted to give you an example of something different you can do. Okay, so this exercise is actually going to work the back of your shoulder also, similar to the one that I did with the cable machine, kind of like this. But what I'm going to do is lean all the way forward and then just do fly straight out to the side. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so this exercise is actually going to do the top of your shoulder, and you're literally just lifting straight out like that. Now, even though I don't have core stability, as long as I'm staying as balanced as possible and try to do it in a controlled motion, I can usually do 2 arms at once. And I'm not doing a ton of weight right now, just to kind of give you an example of how to do the exercise. So all you're doing is straight out. This actually does help you with your balance as well, kind of work on your control. It's tricky, but it's doable. Okay, this exercise I'm doing front raises, and I'm typically doing 1 arm at a time. A lot of the times this is really tricky because pulling weight out in front of you when you don't have core stability is really tricky. But I'll usually kind of use 1 arm to kind of stabilize my body while I'm doing the other arm. So it looks kind of like this. And I kind of hang on to the spokes. Okay, so now I'm just going to do the bicep exercises, and typically I like to do these one arm at a time, so I'll just show you what that looks like. You want to try to not rock back and forth as much as you can. If you're doing that, again, you're doing a little bit too much weight. So that's just a couple examples of some different exercises that you can do. There's probably a lot more that I didn't show you, but that's kind of what I typically do. I won't do all of that in the same day. A lot of the times I'll divide it up. So I may do shoulders and back, or chest and back, and then arms, a different day. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I'm not super hardcore into this, so yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks a lot.